Okay, on to match 4 of our league on Dredge. We are currently 2-1. We lost to Blue-White Landstill, we beat Blue-White Mentor, and we've beaten Shops. So this is now playing to get our money back, and we draw another Leyline Bizarre hand, which is pretty much just the nuts as far as I can tell. It's very hard to interact with. It's very hard to play through, as it just keeps us protected and lets us, just do whatever we want, basically. So we'll just play out the one Leyline again. Once again, no reason to play out both. You never know. Maybe the extra card's going to be in hand is going to be relevant. Okay, and at this point I tend to think maybe like a paradoxical outcome deck or something. I guess not if they're tapping for mana now. Okay, Chalice on 0. I am not familiar enough with Vintage. I have no idea why somebody would play a Chalice on 0 into a obvious Dredge start. The Wasteland makes sense. He's hitting Bizarre. That's fine. We managed to luck sack and draw a second one, so hey, good to be lucky. Double Narcomoeba, which is going to trigger Amalgam, and we have another Dredger in the yard. So obviously we're not likely to be casting many spells this game under the Trinosphere, but I feel like we don't really need to. We have triple Narcomoeba, Leyline of the Void, and our opponent just has a bunch of nothing. Okay, and he just scoops, he knows it. Alright, so same shop sideboard, a couple of Ingachures, a couple of Serenities, Elish Norn over Flamekin, and a couple of Nature's Claims. Dropping 2 to 3 Thugs, 1 Icarud, 1 Amalgam, and I think okay. Still think I prefer dropping the Dread Return, but obviously if it worked last time, why change it? This hand's an obvious mull. This hand's an obvious keep. We are going to be able to, fingers crossed, it's not a guarantee. If he plays like a Relic or something, we can win. Yep, okay. So we can beat Relic or Cage as long as he's not following it up with... Relic and Cage, cool. Alright, so we'll do one at a time. The Cage is probably the more important one. The Relic he needs to leave mana open for. We're just glad that he didn't open on something like a Cage and then a Sphere. Because I think that looks like that really hurts us. Okay, and he's got a walking ballista. So the walking ballista's bad for us just because it takes care of bridges fairly easily. And I guess we're just a tiny little bit less. I guess we're still reasonably business dense. Precursor golem's not good for us either. I think we're looking in pretty rough shape here. Okay, we'll have to take care of the relic. And we're going to bazaar. Guess we're not going to bazaar straight away next turn. Okay, pop the relic, draw a card. So what do we go down to when he attacks? We go down to 9, 11, so we'll go to 7. Question is, so 7, 5 because of ballista, unless he can pump ballista enough to deal double damage. Ah, okay, and Undiscovered Paradise bugs out here. And I didn't even notice. Good for us, I guess. Probably quite frustrating for our opponent. Okay, so we're not actually out of the game yet, so I think we're not. So how much mana does our opponent have access to? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 more counters on Ballista. I think that actually kills us if they just do that. Fortunately, they decide to go with Lodestone Golem instead. And put 2 counters on Ballista. So I think leaves us on like 1 or 2, even if they take all the counters off Ballista there. Okay, and we hit a bridge. I think we want a Dread Return and a Bloodghast. Okay. So what do we have? We've got 2 bridges in the graveyard, which will survive if he doesn't Walking Ballista us. So we're not looking great here. So I guess we need to Dread Return, targeting Ingature, and we probably need to So I think here I don't pay enough attention and I go after Lodestone Golem as being the biggest body, and I think I should have picked Walking Ballista. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to Dread Return. I need to Dread Return to get bodies on the board. And if opponent picked this exact point to Walking Ballista, we would have had more or less an empty board. So I don't know why he didn't do that. He would have just been able to crack in for lethal regardless of what he did. Unfortunately, I make a mistake here as well. Ingot Chewer should have targeted Walking Ballista. And yeah, because I do it this way, he can just untap and kill us with Walking Ballista instead of leaving us with... Otherwise, what would have happened is we would have just had enough zombies to block his attack. Zombies and Ingot Chewer to block his attack. We would have had another couple of prized amalgams in play to crack in with next turn. And because he's on 10, Bloodghast would have had haste. And we probably would have been able to deck more salvage to get them out of the graveyard. So I think we would have won. Unfortunately, instead he's going to untap, pump the Ballista once, and kill us. And we're just going to have to go to game 3. I'm just going to run back the same sideboard, I think it's fine. Okay, and this is an obvious mulligan, and this is an obvious keep. We've got a misstep for any crap he tries to pull. We have a Bazaar, and we have a Nature's Claim, so we probably want to hunt for a coloured source, I think. He mulls, and we find a coloured source on top. So he's going to have a hard time beating this draw, one especially off the mull to 3. So he gets a workshop, so I guess... Alright, so we misstep the relic, and this means that from here he can't just jam a sphere. Alright, the cage is fine. And I decide not to Bazaar, which was a bit dumb. I should have Bazaared, and that way I could have taken a natural draw step, Nature's Claimed, and then activated Bazaar in my turn. Instead, I just decide to draw naturally Nature's Claim. I played a bit more conservatively there than maybe I should have, for better or worse. It's going to work out for us because he's going to strip mine, and we're just going to pitch a Dredger. And he's going to revoke nothing. So he's now empty-handed. We have a Dredger, a Bridge, and a Dread Return in our graveyard. So we don't really need a huge amount to go right from here. Not against somebody who's empty-handed. It is possible for him to top deck something that takes us out of the game, but a couple of turns of slow dredging is going to be fine here, I think. So yeah, clearly our opponent was trying very hard to find a reasonable name for his Revoker, and we get a great Dredge. So we hit an Archamoeba and an Amalgam, and we drop another Troll in the graveyard. I don't know if we have any particular need to do anything very much here. I guess maybe we can therapy ourselves to drop the second Troll in the graveyard. Okay, so I guess we're going to flash back the therapy to get an extra 2 power on the board. And make sure, obviously, that we have a I'm not sure if that was necessary, but it's not hurting. And yeah, obviously, sorry, I'm not sure if flashing back was necessary. We definitely wanted to therapy ourselves there just to make sure that we have as much gas in our graveyard as we possibly can. So we've got our next 2 dredges at a minimum set up. And our opponent just plays a land, so we're looking in really, really good shape here. In fact, I think we can even afford to be a little bit aggressive here. We probably should have attacked. I don't think it hurts us. We only lose 1 bridge. Okay, and we're actually setting up for Serenity here, which will be interesting. So ideally, what we can do is, if we get a decent dredge and we hit something like a therapy. Okay, we're going to get wastelanded. It was a good idea. Unfortunately, it did not pan out. So I guess we'll just be aggressive. I guess we should just be aggressive. I think we just... Oh, we can't just dread return here, can we? I think we need to do it next turn. So this is a little bit of a worry here. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, okay, so I think what we do is we hope our opponent doesn't draw interaction, i.e. a way to lock us out of our graveyard. And we will Icarid next turn and probably Dread return. Okay, that's not going to work now. So what we would have wanted to do is sacrifice Icarid to whatever we can. I think we can just pass the turn again here. It'll put another 6 power on the board, meaning that when we attack next turn with 2 Icarids instead of just 1, we're pretty much 1 turn off lethal. The other option here is we just attack in with our recurable creatures, but I think it's just as safe for us to build a little bit of power and go for it that way. Okay, we're fine with the cage. And we'll just take a natural draw. If we can hit enough lands, we'll start trying to play out our Serenity. But in the meantime, our opponent's going to exile our bridges, and we're going to beat in for, what's that, 9 damage, so our opponent has almost no time to draw in out. So he's going to go to 6. I guess Precursor Golem off the top would save him. Maybe not by now. As we just need one more land, I think, to one more mana producing land to be able to wipe his board. So Precursor Golem here buys him time. Any other creature, I think, still leaves him dead. And we get there.